Yeah, good morning to all.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. We will start with whatever we have just discussed in the previous class, and then we will move on to the block diagram reduction and all those process. So this class is very important for you to understand. Here we'll be discussing on the concepts, and then we'll be moving on to the problem straight away. So this 8 rules, what I am going to teach you today is very, very important, and that is what going to help you to solve the problems further. So all of you must listen carefully and make the maximum utilization of those things and try to understand how it can be done for when the problems comes into uh, for you to solve it. Okay. So let us I will upload the document and then brief you the things whatever we have discussed in the previous class, and then we will move on to the rest of the things. So in the previous class, as you know that we have been discussing on the feedback mechanism. You have also studied that there are two feedback mechanism available. One is called as the what? One is called as positive feedback. Another is called as negative feedback. So all of you should go through all these things, whatever we learn day by day basis, so that it will be easy for you to understand when we move on to the next class. And one thing about control system is that when you study today, so tomorrow's class is interrelated to each other. So I want you to just go through this before you attend the second class. Otherwise, you will not find comfortable when attending the classes simultaneously. So always study along with me. When I teach you, you should always go through the concepts and understand, solve the problem once again, try it by yourself and check whether you are able to do it or not. Solve the same problem and try. If you're getting confident enough to solve whatever we have solved in the classroom, you will find more convenient that yeah, you will gain the confidence, and which will lead you to take up additional problems and explore yourself. So it's very important for you to understand these things. So last class we have seen, you know that there are two mechanisms available. One is called as the open loop control system. Another is called as a closed loop control system. Just for 2 minutes, I'll brief you the things whatever we discussed before. So open loop and closed loop, we have in closed loop, we classify closed loop based on the feedback mechanism. And you have two types of feedback mechanism. One is called as the positive feedback, another is called as a negative feedback. All these things we have discussed in detail. So if I go with the positive feedback or the negative feedback, so if I go with the positive feedback, let me say that positive feedback. So what you can see here is the feedback. Feedback means from output. This is very important. From output, you have to have a mechanism towards the input. Then only you call it as a feedback. Okay. So we from output, you have to take something towards the input, and this point where it is at the positive part of it, then you call it as a positive feedback. And your equation will be C of S by R of S is called as a transfer function. You'll get it as G of S divided by 1 minus G of S H of S for positive feedback. So you should be very much careful to note down whether it is a positive feedback or a negative feedback. Let me go back to the negative feedback. So negative feedback, you know that the from the output you have to have a feedback mechanism towards the input, and this symbol is negative. See, please make sure that you see the symbols properly. And when it is a negative feedback, what you can understand, when it is a negative feedback, your equation for transfer function, that is C of S by R of S is equal to G of S plus G of S into H of S. So this is the difference between the positive feedback and negative feedback. As well as, just to brief out, if you have missed the classes before, we have studied two points. One is called as the summer and another is called as a takeoff point. So if you are attending this class properly, you should be able to do the problems. That's why I'm just briefing you these things, whatever we discussed in the previous class. So we have 2 points. One is called as a summer point. So you put circle and cross. This point is called as a summer, where you give the symbols like plus, minus, and all those things. This point is called as a takeoff point. So most probably you can see that the point here I have put in color. So this point comes here, and it is taken as the takeoff point. Based on the requirement, you have to do all those things whenever it comes to problems and all. So this notation is called as the takeoff point, and this notation is called as a summing point. Okay, so we will be using this, or I will be saying what is it's move the summing point this side, move the summing point that side, below, behind the block, ahead of the block. So you should know that which is the summing point. So this point is called, this type of representation is called as a summing point, and this type of representation is called as the takeoff point. So we have already studied positive feedback, negative feedback, all those things. As well as we have studied a few reduction rules as well. So as I have told you that this is very important for you to understand, that is the block diagram reduction techniques. So this topic is very important for you to understand. So what you can see, there are 8 rules available. So 8 rules are there, and you have to understand each rule. So all 8 rules we will be studying. So first one is what? First one is combining the blocks in cascade. So let us see that how the blocks get combined in cascade, and you have to make sure that you understand these things properly. Can anyone, anyhow, we have explained in the previous class. So listen carefully. I will just brief you these things again, and then we'll move on to the next rules and regulations, and then go with the problems. See, the main thing what you have to understand when you reduce the block, like for example, if you have one block here and another block G1 and G2. So what you can say that when you pass through this input through G1 and G2, you will get X3. For example, that is your output. So when you combine this block, so what your output has to be X3 itself. That is the very important thing what you have to understand. When you do the combination of the blocks, whether you are adding the blocks, or you are taking the blocks in parallel, you are taking the blocks in cascade, you are shifting the summing point, or you are shifting the takeoff point, whatever you are doing, the output has to be the same. That is, you have to have this X3 same for both the places. Now let us see this example. So you have G1 and G2. We are saying that it is in cascade. You have X1, you automatically generate X2 after G1, and then X2 is taken to X3 after G2. So in the same process, when I give X1, so let me write with the equations to make it clear for you. So when I go with the equations, so X2 is equal to, X2 can be written as X1 G1, and X3 can be written as X2 G2. And when you substitute X2 in this equation, you can substitute X2. So you substitute X2 here, and you see that X3 is same as X1 G1 G2. So in place of drawing this much, I am just simplifying this with the simple block, because my X3 will remain the same. Okay, so this is what you can see here. So we got X3, and once you got X3, you can call this process the process of combining the blocks by cascade mechanism. So this methodology is called as the cascade process. So here you can see that the X3 remains the same for both the blocks. So it is called as the equivalent diagram. Okay, equivalent diagram means you are not supposed to change the output. So that is one of the way to verify that whether your reduction is going correct or wrong. So your output has to be same. If you're going, if you're doing it and your output is changing, then your reduction method is wrong. So you have to be just clear with that. When you go with the bigger number of blocks and all, you have to see that. See here, x2 is there. Here lot many blocks might have come and then x2 might have come. You don't have to solve for x3. If you are solving only this portion, so only this portion you are doing it, then it is sufficient that you just take care of this section. You can take care of this section. So this is what combining blocks in cascade. Anyhow, we have discussed this in the previous class. So let us just continue with combining the blocks in parallel. So here I have told you that combining the blocks in parallel is of major importance, and most of the students make mistake by, or they don't see the diagram properly. That is what I should say, that they don't observe the diagram properly. In control system, observation is the most important one. You have to observe the diagram carefully. You should not miss any of the terms. So let me just go to the combining the blocks in parallel. So just this, all these things we have discussed in detail in the previous class. Just some of you, if you have not concentrated or missed out the class, for them it should not be a problem. So that's the reason I'm explaining it once again for you, and it's very important for us to solve the numericals. So combining the blocks in parallel. So we are going to see that the mechanism that when two blocks are in parallel. So what mistake students do is, see here the input, the arrow mark is pointing towards the input, and from here the signal is moving towards the output. But here also you see down also it is coming from this point and moving towards the output. So what you can see here, both the sides, the signals are coming towards X2. So there is no feedback mechanism here. That is what you should understand, uh, that you are not doing any feedback here. So since you are not doing any feedback here, so the process is like the blocks are in parallel, and you should make sure that your equation for x2, that is what the answer you are going to get for x2, should remain the same. So when we do that, we can see that x1 is x2 is equal to x1 g1, that is positive symbol here, and plus or minus x1 g2, so that will be x2. So I can take x1 common together and I can write g1 plus or minus g2 into x1. So what I can see here, x1, this entire block, I am replacing it by g1 plus or minus g2. That is what you have to understand here. So the entire block you have been converted to g1 plus or minus g2. When you are doing so, your blocks get simplified and you get the same output at x2. So this is the second mechanism. Anyone is having any doubt in first and second? Is that clear for you? This is second time I am repeating it. Is that clear for you? See, is there any doubt for you in the first and second?
No, sir.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the third one. Okay. So we'll see that. So moving the summing point behind the block. So this is called as a summing point, and you have to move this side. So what you can see here, so you can see that. So you can see here, this block, it has come this side. So when this block came this side, what you can see automatically here, things will change at this point. So but you should get the same equation for x3. X3 is gx1 plus or minus gx2. So here when you do that, you will if you don't put this block here, you will not get the same equation for x3. So you have to understand that you have to put those things in order to get that same equation. So that's what you can see here. So this is what we got by moving the summing point. So we have moved the summing point this side. So what is the we have this? This is the problem example. So x3 in this is g x1. X1 is coming from this side plus or minus g x2. So when I move the summing point this side, why I will move the summing point this side is when, for example, in some problems when I move this summing point this side, rest of the block whatever is available here for me may go in feedback mechanism, or it might go in a cascading mechanism, or it might go in any of the other, so that I will be able to reduce those blocks at the earliest. Okay. So you have to observe the problem carefully and do it. So this is what you can see, x1 is there and x2 is there. So the equation has to be the same when you simplify it. So here you see x1g plus x2g plus or minus x2g is x3. So the equation is one and the same for both. So what you can say that there is no change in the output, that is x3, even though we have shifted the block, or we have changed the summing block. Okay. So when you do the problems, you can see that when we shift the summing blocks and all, it's going to create a lot of difference, and you can see that you are able to simplify it faster when you move the summing block. It's like you might have seen the cubic, no, where you move there will be a lot of probabilities to solve that cube. So you can see that when you move one color, the rest of the things come into place and you can solve it faster. So the same way here also, when you move one thing this side in the same method of solving a cube where you have multiple colors there, so these are the 8 rules available. So you have to see that problem is like a cube for you, and these rules are like colors for you. So when you change the color, you have to make sure that you do the same thing. If you don't change the right thing, what it will be, you have to do multiple times that operation. If you do the right thing in the first step, you complete that faster. So this is the same method used in this. So you have to understand these things, and it is not difficult at all. When you solve the problems, you find it very easy, and I'll explain you how it can be solved faster and easier. So then we will move on to the next one. So this is about the summing point movement. So we'll now think that we are moving the takeoff point. So we will see that how the takeoff point can be moved further here and there. So this is the takeoff point being placed here. So my takeoff point, I have to move this side, this point. So this side I have to move the takeoff point. So what is my equation here? This output x2 is equal to g x1. And here also you should see this is how x2 is here. Here also x2 is there here as well. So both the sides you have to see x2 is g x1. So when I shift the point from here to here, I should make sure that my x2 is not changing. So you can see that when I move the takeoff point to this side, here my x, here it is still, here it is x1 itself. You should understand carefully. Still here it is x1 itself, but my x2 output is combination of g. So my x2 output is combination of g and x1. So when I move from here, I have to put this block here, and so that my x1 is coming this way. When it comes along with g, it will be x2 g. X2 is equal to g x1. Still here it is. Still here it is. What is there here in this point? In this point, this is x1. This is x1 until here. So what I have to do further? So I have to see that my x2 should remain the same. So I have to put a G here as well. I have to make sure that when I shift the takeoff point to this side, I have to put one G block here, another G block here, so that my x2 will remain the same. So is there any doubt in moving the summing point as well as moving the takeoff point? See, very simple. Only one fundamental thing what you have to understand and remember is you are not supposed to change the output by the movement of the blocks. Okay, you are supposed to keep the output same. That is what you might have understood by what I was saying from last 4 points. So whatever shifting or changes I am doing it, but I am making sure that my output remains the same. Is that clear for all of you? Any doubts are there? See, do you have any doubts in that?
No, sir.
Yeah, fine. All of you have understood, just raise your hands so that I can make sure that you are following the things up. Yeah, I want quick response from you. I want most of you understand. I don't think it's a problem. Very good. So a majority of the students are able to understand. So we will, you can just put your hands down and we will just discuss further. So I will be asking you these things later on. What do you mean by how to shift the takeoff point and those things? So just understand these things carefully. So I'm going to the next fifth and sixth rule. So fifth rule is moving the takeoff point behind a block. So we have this point here. So this is the point here. And if you move this point to this side, that is behind a block, ahead of the block, and all those things, you no need to worry about it. Only thing is that your output has to be the same. That is very important. See that if I am just taking this point to this side, so my x2 is here. This is my x1. You should be very careful. This is my x1, output x1. So here is x1. When I take this point here, then my G gets involved in it. So I have to eliminate the G, correct? So I have to eliminate this G to bring the C. So what I'll be doing, I'll be dividing by doing 1 by G. So x2 will be dx1. Then I understand. So what can we get is 2 and x2 will be 1 by G. This is not is 1 by G, and the x1 will be the same. So G, if you see that you you it out. You just draw this diagram. Have one. Have you completed these two? Explaining you. Have you completed these two? Yeah, one of you respond to me. You can unmute and talk to me. Just let me know that have you completed those two figures, and let me move on to the next one. If you have drawn, you can just draw it for 2 minutes if you have not drawn. Have you completed that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So the other two figures I will then put it out for you. So draw these things. I will send you this documents, no problem, but you have to note down in the class itself. It will give you better understanding of those things. Okay. So you have seen the takeoff movement of the takeoff point. Now you have seen the movement of the takeoff point ahead of the block, as well as you have seen the movement of the takeoff point behind the block. What you have to understand, that whichever arrow mark is pointing outwards, you should make sure that the equations are correct. Equations, for example, this is x1. You need to have the equation for x1. X1 is x1 itself. But when you move the block here, what will happen? This point, it will be gx1. So you need to eliminate that g here. Then only you will get x1 here. So I am dividing it by 1 by g. So these are all quite simple for you if you understand these things. So next, if you have completed everything, you can write the next thing, that is moving a summing point ahead of a block. Moving a
Excuse me,
summing
sir.
point. Yeah, tell me.
So once again, sir, that behind a block.
Yeah, behind a block, I'll tell you once again. See here, you be on, don't mute it, okay? You be on, unmute it and listen carefully here. You have x1 here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this point, what it will be? X1 itself, correct?
Hmm.
So when you pass that x1 through, one second, when you pass that x1 through g, it becomes gx1. Is that clear for
GX1.
you? Is that clear for you? X2 will become gx1. Clear, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see here, I have moved this point. This point I have moved here. I have moved this side.
Yes,
Correct?
sir. Hmm.
Okay. So what will be my x1? X1, this point, what it will be? X1 will be along with, what will be my x2? X2 has to be.
GX1, sir.
So to get x2 here as gx1, whether I have to add this block here.
No.
See, to get x2 as gx1, see here, if I don't add this block, what will be my x2? X2 will be x1 itself, no?
X1, sir.
See here, you are moving this point this side, correct?
Yes, sir.
So here it is x1. It is correct, right? Here it is x2. What is x2? What should be x2?
G into
Even
X1.
g into x1. How you can get x2 as g into x1? See here, two things are there. Here x1 is there. Here also x1 is there. It has to be x1 itself, not gx1. X1 has to be x1. So what you can see here you are coming till this point. If you don't add this block g, then you will never get this equation for x2 as gx1. And here what it is there? What is the here? What is available here? Here it is gx1. Here it is gx1, correct or not?
Yes, sir.
At this point, it is gx1. So when you have gx1 here, here also it is gx1 itself. But you don't want x1 to be gx1. It should not be gx1. It should be only x1. So what you have to do? Gx1 divided by g. So you will get x1 here.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Yeah, that is the thing. So what you have to understand here is, as per the requirement of the output, when the output is having when you are having the output, no, so you have to make sure that the entire thing has to be taken care. Here what it is there, you have in fact you have two things towards the output. You have x2 also here, as well as x1 also. You have to take care of both the things when you are moving this point. You cannot just take care of x2 and leave x1 as it is. You have to make sure that both x2 and x1 are taken care properly when you move the blocks. Anything, you have to see the entire process. So if it is clear for you, we'll move ahead.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you, sir.
yeah, fine. So you complete that, then we will see that moving a summing point ahead of a block. Moving a summing point ahead of a block. So when you have to move a summing point ahead of a block, so this is the question. So you can see that this is the question. So for a minute, I am not going to explain you. Just listen, means just see that what it has come and how it is being drawn. Because you have been seeing lot many rules here. So what you can see here in this question is, so just understand carefully and try to understand why these blocks G and 1 by G and all those things were placed at these points when you have moved the summing point. Just try to analyze yourself, because if you analyze yourself, you will find it more interesting to understand these things. Then I will explain you what these things are and how it has come. But before me explaining, I want you to analyze these things, how it is being, how it has come there. So this is the question. So this is the thing, and you have here x3. You have x3 here. Now what we have been doing in sixth rule, what we are going to do in the rule 6, we will see. See here this is the summing point. So what they are asking you, I have to shift this summing point towards this side. So you should be careful enough. First I will do one thing is, I will shift my summing point to this point. But what all things are interrelated to this summing point? I have x2, I have x3. My x2 and x3 should not change. Whatever movement I do, my x2 and x3 should not have any changes. Okay, so and this you have to see here, this arrow mark is coming inside into it. This arrow mark is pointing outside. That's why I'm saying you should be very careful by seeing the figures properly. So you can just understand these things. I am moving that from here. So I am moving it from here to this point. So you can see that I have placed it here. Correct? So when I moved it here, what my x3 should be, equation should be the same. Whatever I do doesn't matter. My output has to be the same. So when I move that this side, what I can see, x1 here. Means at this point, what will be my value? It will be x1 plus or minus G x2. But that is not my equation for x3. That is not my equation for x3. So what I need for x3? I need gx1 plus or minus x2. So how I can make it gx1 plus or minus x2? If I introduce a block here, g, then what it will be? I will get this x1 multiplied by g, so it will be g. Here also I will get multiplied by g. G will get cancelled, so my equation will be this one. So that will be my x3. So it is very important for me to add a block here. It's very important for me to add a block here called as g for making this x3 same, making the equation for x3 same. But if you see this here, x2, here it is x2. x2 is coming to the summing point. But x2 is coming to the summing point, but when I move the block this side, so I should make sure that even though I move the block to this side, my x3 should not change. So here x2 itself should come. To make that x2 itself to come there, I have to make sure that I add one more block here, that is 1 by g. So when it will be x2 by g, so what I'll get here, my equation will not change further. So whatever it is, my equation should not change for the output side. So based on that, I have to make the necessary changes in the blocks, and then I'll get the correct answer.
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
So I understood this, but I have a doubt that near the summing point, there is a symbol that plus and plus or minus. No, sir, it will be constant for all the thing the same.
No. It is, see, it depends on the problem. Okay. It is not mandatory that I have to put this plus or minus. See, this for this example, it is plus or minus. It can be plus, it can be only minus, anything.
In that case, in the equation, how it will change, sir?
No. In this case, it is plus or minus. In this case, it is plus or minus. Why? Because here in the problem itself, it is plus or minus. You can see here. 1 second, I'll make it clear for you first. Yeah. See here, since it is plus or minus at x2, that's why only it is further repeated as plus or minus. You can see here, this is plus or minus here. Since in the problem itself it is plus or minus, you have to retain the same plus or minus here. If it is like, it can be plus, it can be minus. It will not be both plus or minus in examples and all which we do. It will be either plus or it will be minus. So if it is when you solve the problems, no, it will not be both plus or minus there. It will be they may either put plus or they may put minus. Is that clear for you?
But my doubt is how that affects in the equation, sir. What we should consider in the equation, like
one
there are
thing what I will say you is this: you are confused with this plus or minus or what?
Above it is plus, no, sir, and below it is plus or minus, sir.
Correct only. This is a general thing. Okay, when you do the problems, no, when you really come into the blocks reduction and all those things, it will be either plus or it will be either minus. It will not be plus or minus.
Okay, sir.
This is I am talking about the rules and all. So I have given a general thing that plus or minus. But when you solve numericals, it will be either plus or it will be either minus. It will not be plus or minus.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it will be either a positive feedback or a negative feedback if you are taking from the output. It will not be combinations of plus and minus.
Yes,
Since it's a general discussion for the rules, we have put plus or minus here. Okay, is that clear for you?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is what it is going to happen when you have movement of summing points and the movement of all these things, takeoff points and all. If you are clear with it, then we will move on further. Is that clear for all of you? Is that clear for
Yes,
all
sir.
of you? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
So let us continue further. If you have any doubts, you can ask me later also, no problem. This is now another rule that is called as the summing point with 3 inputs. So what you can see here is this is the summing point where you can see input X, Y and Z. So I am going to split this off. Like you have A plus B plus C is equal to Z, for example. I'm going to split it as A plus B, then output of A plus B is going to C, and I am going to say that further it is A plus B plus C. So that is what here it is done. It's a very simple one. I have split that Y and Z together and Z separate. So this combination plus this combination will give me the same output. But only thing is that these rules may be used some places in the problem. So you have to see here why it will be used. I will tell you. When 3 of the things are connected to each other, neither you can solve the problem, whether it is a feedback mechanism or whether it is a summing process or what it is, we will not be able to understand. So what in those cases, what we'll do, we'll split this up. So what we'll do, we'll split the summer in this way, in this manner, and we will make sure that we are able to simplify it further. So this is very simple. There is no much difficulty in understanding it. Is that it's clear now for everyone? Splitting off, everyone knows this A plus B plus C, A, B together you take and C separate you take. Okay, but the answer will remain the same. This is done in order to simplify the blocks. So next one is eliminating a feedback loop. We have already discussed about eliminating a feedback loop. Here I have, as earlier we have discussed, here I have given plus or minus. This is a general discussion. It will never be plus or minus. It will be either a positive feedback or it will be a negative feedback. Here what does it say is, if it is a positive feedback, you will get G by 1 minus GH, and if it is a negative feedback, you will get G divided by 1 plus GH. You can draw it separately, you can draw it in this way, both are correct. Okay, this is the general discussion for feedback mechanism. As we have studied already the feedback mechanism, you should be very careful that feedback mechanism means there should be a connection from the output towards the input. So then only you can use this equation to simplify the loop, simplify the entire network. So any doubts are there here? It's clear? If it is clear for all of you, these are the 8 rules for you to simplify. Any doubts are there in any of the 8 rules, you can ask me. If it is clear, you can just inform me. I will move on to the problem. Is that clear for all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will move on to the problem then. So let us see how this problems can be solved. So take down this problem. You are writing down, this means you complete it. Then we will just go to the problem. So it's clear for everyone? Anyone is having any doubts or anything? It's clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us you have completed it now. We'll move to the problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we will just see that what the problem says. Refer the block diagram in figure using block diagram reduction technique. Find the overall transfer function C of S by R of S. You need to find the transfer function C of S by R of S. Draw this diagram. So before solving this diagram, let us analyze this diagram. And if I show you the solutions, your analysis process will not be there. So analysis is very important rather than solving the problem. So I want you to say that which are the rules you are going to use here, how you are going to implement it, everything. See, one thing I'll tell, if nothing is drawn here, for example, you can see that this side nothing is there, means a single loop is coming, means you can take it as 1. Okay, thus you can take it as 1. So here you can, if you want, you can draw one block and put it as 1. So it's if no need to write that, but if there is nothing coming, it is a plain loop from one end to another, then it is same as putting a block and writing 1 there. Okay, it's a unity one. So let us see that if you have completed the question. So who is going to tell me that which is the simplification you are going to do first? Here you are going to use the any of the 8 rules and going to simplify it. Our process, our methodology should be to simplify the problem, not make the problem complicated. Okay, don't use the rules and make the problem complicated. We are simplifying the blocks. So as per you, what is the first thing you would like to do here?
So rule number 7.
Why?
We can see that there are two.
See properly. See, rule number 7 will make it complicated.
Rule number 8, sir.
Rule number 8 will make it simple. So that is what you have to use, rule number 8. Where you are going to use that? So I will just to get an idea for you, I will say that this is the portion you have to simplify first. This is the portion you have to simplify. What is that? Is that a feedback mechanism?
Yes, sir. Feedback mechanism.
Yeah. So which is the rule you are going to use here? Rule
8.
Number 8. So which feedback it is?
Negative.
Negative. So your equation has to come g divided by 1 plus gh. What is h here?
1, sir.
1. Okay. So I will, you need to, block diagram reduction means you need to draw step by step process. So you have to first draw this step, eliminating the feedback loop, put the dotted lines here, understand it. You need to write all the steps. Don't skip the steps. If you skip the steps, you will end up with the wrong answer. So put the dotted lines. So what will be the equation when you draw further? So you have to write this complete block. You can see here this entire block will get reduced in this form. See here, G divided by negative feedback. So 1 plus GH. What is H here? 1. So it is G1 divided by 1 plus G1. Very simple. What is the next rule you can follow? What is the next rule you can follow here?
Combining the blocks in cascade, sir.
Yeah, that is very simple. What you will be doing? What will be the equation further? When you cascade this, what it will happen? What will happen?
G1, G2 by 1 plus G1.
G1, G2 by 1 plus G1. That's what. It is very easy. Now further again. It's not over.
Again, we get a negative feedback.
Again, H rule.
Again,
Yeah.
H1 we use.
Again, you will get a negative feedback. So you will get in this form. You have to simplify it. So some of you might have not completed. You just do it. Those who have completed, you can just proceed further. Draw this diagram. So you might have come. You have to cascade the blocks, means you'll be writing G1 G2 divided by 1 plus G1. Please go through all the 8 rules carefully. Don't miss any rules, and make sure that you study regularly. At least the concepts you try to understand, then it will be easy for you. Today's class is very important, and this you can solve it by taking a negative feedback mechanism, because here it is a negative and the output you are taking towards the input. So you will be writing it as this complete term will be G. So G divided by 1 plus G H. So it will be, you have to substitute that. So you have to write C of S by R of S transfer function is equal to G of S. Since it is a negative feedback, G of S by 1 plus G of S H of S. I substituted for G of S as G1 G2 by 1 plus G1 divided by 1 plus G1 G2 by 1 plus G1 into 1. So I will get further this one. So all of you will get this answer. Just solve it. All of you got the answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.